Hello, Ryan here, and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all of the news from the week just past. Be sure to subscribe if you like what you see, and let's get on with it. This week, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo kicks off, the Consolidated Outland Nomad is revealed, plus we hear more in regards to Star Citizen's AI and NPCs. So this week's Inside Star Citizen kicked off looking at the new Consolidated Outland Nomad. Now, I won't go too much into this today, as I have covered this ship in a separate video linked below, which was actually before we got our hands on the ship. I did pick one up for myself. I CCU'd my Ursa rover to one, and do expect a buyer's guide video for that in the very near future. My personal opinion of this ship is that it's a great new addition for someone who wants a cargo-worthy vehicle at a reasonable price, especially if you're coming into the game for the first time. And as much as I'm not totally sold on the bulbous cockpit, the Gravlev landing gear and the open cargo hold, I do think it's a great, ugly, beautiful ship with a really nice self-contained interior. As I said, I will talk more further on this ship and do a buyer's guide and show it off in all of its glory and put it through its paces, so we won't discuss it too much here. But if you want to check out its specs and some more information on the ship, do follow the link to my Nomad video below. So the final section of Inside Star Citizen took a look at the new Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, which was held at Microtech this year. It is a brand new venue that they have created from the ground up. And for this year, they tried to create a more realistic convention with huge halls and then smaller side halls for other ships. It is much cleaner, sleeker and minimalistic, which really helps to show off the ships perfectly. It actually reminds me a little bit of the CitizenCon, I think last year in Manchester. And personally, I think they've done a great job at conveying that feeling of a convention. Plus, I do love the inclusion of the components and the weapons. And I'm looking forward to the last day, which is, I think they have armor on display as well. Hopefully we'll see something new there. But I highly suggest giving it a look yourself. There is a free fly on at the moment as well, so you don't even need to buy a game package. All you need to do is sign up to the website and create an account. And once you've signed up, you can download the game and you can get access to all the ships that are on display by just simply walking up to them and renting them for free for, I think, 48 hours. A great way to try the game and just check it out and see if it's for you. Obviously, with it being an alpha, it's a bit buggy at the moment, so do expect that. And I think the servers are still having a bit of a brain fart trying to let people into the game. But each day there is a new manufacturer showing off their ships. It is highly worth taking a look. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But that is Inside Star Citizen. Let us move on. So this week's Star Citizen Live was with the AI team. The first question is, what is needed to improve the state of ground-based AI and FPS combat? Now, they said lots of the issues are actually coming from desyncs, which they are continuously trying to improve, but they have a lot of stuff in the plans from a behavior and design perspective. The AI is very simplistic right now, and so they are working on things like ammo replenishment and surrender. They also want to look into flanking and the ability for AI to throw grenades to flush out players, also while reacting to grenades themselves. They did say there's a lot more to come, so hopefully we get to see that soon. Next question, what is the latest on the planetary nav mesh work? Now, the nav mesh is what will allow them to actually have AI and NPCs and creatures on the planets themselves. This is critical to getting the AI planet side. So they have started work on how much they can generate on the planet, and the plan is to use the mesh and expand it in a way to work more efficiently on the planets themselves. A critical part of this is how they can connect the mesh, and this is all part of the work that they started last year, creating the ability to connect multiple meshes together. When we saw the NPCs entering spaceships and flying off in the CitizenCon demo, this was the first bit of work that they have done for this. Now, I really hope that we can benefit from this work as soon as possible. I cannot wait to see NPCs and creatures, both hostile and friendly, wandering around the environment. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the work that they are doing on this will be to get the AI population living at a settlement or a village once they have been established. It will be amazing heading to a little village full of NPC settlers to get missions from. Next question, how much AI is affected by server performance? And they said quite a lot of it is affected by the performance of the actual server. Things like the time it takes for an NPC to react in FPS or ship combat, the bartender. He did say that server meshing will help with this, so not until next year, unfortunately. What is next for social AI? Now, they said that they are working on the mess hall behavior, specifically for Squadron 42, of course, but it does also apply to the PU, having this proper systemic behavior like the AI eating and drinking, and having this actually affecting their requirements like their hunger levels and how much of the food they will eat, with varying hunger values, or even getting drunk if they consume too much alcohol. The vendors of shops around the verse will also make use of the bartender tech, which is why it was great seeing the bartenders come to life. They're also working on these other behaviors like off-duty activities, so playing arcade machines or dancing. It'll be great when we finally start to see NPCs with actual character, just sort of breathing life into them and into the verse. Plus, I just want to play arcade machines myself in the game. I wonder when we're going to be able to do that. Anyway, next question. Will we see bartenders knocking out players who jump behind the bar? Now, they said that they do want the bartenders to react in some way to unruly players or patrons, but not every bartender will react in the same way. Bartenders working in shady places, like Grim Hex for example, may be more violent than those working in a more affluent location, like Microtech, who would just likely call security. But they don't want players interrupting the bartenders doing their jobs, as it would leave people just sitting around waiting. Next question is, has any creature AI work begun? Now, they have some basic code ideas for how the creature AI will work. They are placing creatures into certain groups and categories like intelligent and less intelligent. They're also planning some flocking states, so if they move around in groups, and also how they will react to objects and players and so on. They did say it's a bit too early to actually begin coding the creature AI, as they are prioritizing human and alien AI. By alien, they mean the Vanduul and other races. That's their first priority. But they do create systems to be shared across features, so much of the work done on humans will likely contribute to creatures as well. Next question is, will we be able to have pets? And they said yes, this was one of the stretch goals in the early funding days. Some of the creatures and animals will be possible to be pets. I will provide a link below to the stretch goals page in the description, so this will give those who don't know about it or haven't read it some insight into what is planned. Pets, I believe, was unlocked around somewhere between the sort of $60 million and $65 million stretch goal, so be sure to give those a read. It's very interesting stuff. Next question, will AI have the same survival requirements as players do? Now, they said yes, both AI NPCs and creatures will get hungry, they'll get thirsty and so on. They will have the requirements and their needs will alter as they eat and drink, but it is a bit more of a simplified system to that of the player's needs. This is all actually part of what is being worked on now with this mess hall for Squadron 42. That is going to be the starting point, but all of those systems do apply. So to finish with, they spoke about NPC Crew, giving us what their intentions are and what they plan to do. Now, they said it's not coming anytime soon, and to clarify, an NPC Crew is different to your AI blades. AI blades will slot into your computers and alter certain functions. The NPCs are actual physical AI characters in the game that are human or alien in form. Now, the way they expect the abilities to fall in comparison to each other, the average player, they said, will be better than the average NPC. The average NPC will be better than the average AI blade. Obviously, there will be variables to this, but that's generally how they're looking at this. There will be a limit to how many AI blades you can have installed, and NPCs can pretty much do exactly what the player can do, and NPCs will do each task assigned to them to the best of their abilities based on their skill levels and their traits. So hiring an NPC who has a high turret gunner skill can still be instructed to fix a component, but they may not have a very high level skill in repair or engineering, so they will do it to the best that they can, and vice versa. So a highly skilled engineer NPC will be great at keeping your ship running, but maybe not so good in a turret. They did say players will need to ensure that NPCs that they hire are doing the jobs that they are good at. NPCs will get better at everything they do, so over time you could train up a NPC that you hired as a turret gunner to be a pilot, but it will take time for them to learn. Skill levels of NPCs will be reflected in the hiring costs, with the higher skilled NPCs requiring higher payments. Now, they are also building in all of the behaviors to take skills and traits into consideration. NPCs will have character traits as well that may make them cowardly or show-offs or even overconfident. So a show-off pilot may try to pull off tricks, whereas his actual piloting skill will be what determines how useful those tricks are. So he might just do a random loop-the-loop, which doesn't actually have any effect on what is going on around him, but he's just trying to show off. Your NPC crew states will also be important and affect their overall abilities. So are they well fed? Are they happy? Are they unhappy? All of this will affect how they behave and perform, so you will need to take care of them. Now, this system does sound very, very deep, and AI is of major importance to this game when you consider that 90% of the population we see will be NPCs. The NPCs that we can hire will have actual personalities and realistic reactions to what we ask them to do. CIG have said that they don't want players to have to hold the hands of the NPCs they hire, more the case that you ask them to do something and then they will do it to the best of their abilities, and also based on how well you treat them. This will mean that you need to invest into the maintenance and growth of your NPC crew, which could create some form of attachment between you and them, so you'll want to keep them alive. But that was Star Citizen Live. Quite an interesting one, but not really learning anything new there. Let us move on. So also this week, there was a post-mortem of Alpha 3.11, in which CIG break down how they feel the 3.11 release went, its ups, its downs, what they felt they achieved and what didn't work. I will actually put this into a separate video early next week, as there was quite a few interesting tidbits. Drifters Part 3 is available, which is a great short story written by Dave Haddock. And finally, some new seasonal merch was released, which looks incredible, especially the pins and the tree decorations, but they are personally a little bit too pricey for me. So that brings us to the end of the show. If you do enjoy my content, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Also, I am able to do this thanks to my very generous patrons and channel members. If you appreciate what I do and would like to help make it even better from as little as $1 a month, all of the links are provided below.